When your stove is shut down and cooled off, you want to open the door. If this is completely full of ash at this point, just vacuum out what you can with your ash vac. Pull out the ashtray and vacuum that out. The flame guide or the shield, this is a wearable part. This will be something that you might have to replace. It is definitely a wearable part. You're going to want to remove the burn pot. This probably will be full of what they call a clinker or hard chunks in there. You're going to want to scrape that out and really get rid of that. As you notice, the burn pot has holes underneath. That's for the air. But it also has a hole here. We've got to make sure that lines up with the igniter when we put it back in. As you can see, this back wall is what they call the baffle. This is on ammonia. There's two little cams, one on each side. You undo the cams just by pushing them up. Lift up on the baffle a little bit. And then roll the baffle out of the firebox. What's real important here is to notice these two slots on this side and that side. This hole here, and there's another one just like that. The ash will actually get caught into this chamber. These holes actually drop down below here, which I'll show you right now. What you're going to want to do is undo this screw. Set it aside. Remove this plate. And underneath there is where all the fly ash will be accumulated. And that hole is where the combustion blower is. So what you're going to want to do is take a brush, clean down in these chambers. This is how you should be getting in there with something like this and actually clean down inside this hole. And as you brush down in there, all the ash will then fall down and come into this area here where you'll take your vacuum and clean that out. Once this is brushed thoroughly, down in here is vacuumed all nice out, you vacuum out in here, you can now start putting things back together. As these get used, they can tend to warp a little bit, and it might be a little harder to get them in and out. What's good is if you took a little grinder and just took a slight edge off this, not a lot, just a skim coat off each side. To put the baffle back in, kind of grab it through the hole. You're going to want to go under. Basically, we're going to go under those two cams that are in there that we loosened up earlier. And you kind of have to wiggle it back up in there. Just re-engage the cams so the baffle can't move. If this gasket is no longer there, just use a small bead of high-temp silicone around here. You don't need a new gasket. Reinstall the screw. Reinstall your ash. Take your burn pot, remembering that the hole goes to the side with the igniter. Reinstall that. Put your flame guide back on. Depending on how dirty the stove was, is also I would clean your venting that goes out of the house. Make sure there's no ash or any obstructions in that.